Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and stories from around the world. According to recent reports, Ukraine has targeted warehouses owned by the Russian e-commerce giant Wildberries, which it claims supplies the Russian army. This marks the fourth attack on the company's facilities. In a separate incident, Russian strikes near Kyiv have killed at least 10 people and wounded over 100. The attack is said to have targeted an arms-related event in the region. Rescue operations are still underway, and the situation remains volatile. As we explore this story further, it's essential to consider the complex geopolitical landscape surrounding the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. With both sides trading accusations and engaging in military actions, finding a peaceful resolution seems increasingly challenging. The international community is closely watching the developments, with some countries calling for calm and others providing support to Ukraine. The United States, for instance, has reiterated its wish to mediate the conflict, while also acknowledging that it is not willing to put pressure on Russia. As we navigate this intricate web of alliances and interests, one thing is clear: the people of Ukraine are bearing the brunt of the conflict. With thousands displaced, injured, or killed, the humanitarian crisis deepens by the day. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of war and the urgent need for diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict peacefully. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex economic story that's been unfolding over the past few days. President Trump has introduced new tariffs on dozens of countries, including key allies, citing concerns over forced labor and global supply chains. This move has sparked debate and raised questions about the impact on international trade relationships. To break it down, the tariffs are essentially a tax on imported goods, which can increase costs for American consumers and businesses. The affected countries include major trading partners like the European Union, as well as other nations around the world. The UK, in particular, is facing a competitive disadvantage compared to the EU, as its trade deal with the US doesn't offer the same level of protection. On one hand, proponents of the tariffs argue that they are necessary to protect American industries and workers from unfair competition. They also claim that the measures will help to combat forced labor and promote human rights worldwide. On the other hand, critics say that the tariffs are a blunt instrument that could harm innocent businesses and consumers, while also sparking retaliatory measures from other countries. It's worth noting that the UK government has been considering its own response to the issue of forced labor in supply chains. There have been calls for the government to pass legislation banning products made with forced labor, which could potentially pave the way for a better trade deal with the US. However, this is a complex and sensitive topic, and any move would need to be carefully considered. As the situation continues to evolve, it's clear that the new tariffs will have far-reaching implications for global trade and the US economy. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Welcome back to Concrete Block. The situation in Iran has taken a turn for the worse, with the ongoing conflict having severe consequences on the country's infrastructure and civilian population. A recent report highlights the devastating effects of targeting civilian infrastructure, including drinking water, sanitation, health, and energy systems. This not only exacerbates the humanitarian crisis, but also undermines the ability of Iranians to organize and pursue democratic change. The use of military action to force regime change has proven to be counterproductive, setting back the organic revolutionary movement that was gaining momentum in Iran before the war. It's essential to recognize that weakening a government and breaking a country are not the same thing. Regimes can fall, and armies can withdraw, but the long-term damage to a country's infrastructure and its people can have lasting consequences. Experts warn that destroying civilian infrastructure can condemn civilians to displacement, disease, and poverty for generations. It's crucial to prioritize the protection of essential services, including water treatment, healthcare, and electricity, to prevent a humanitarian catastrophe. As we consider the situation in Iran, it's essential to approach the topic with nuance and balance. we must acknowledge the complexities of the conflict and the need for a multifaceted solution that addresses the root causes of the crisis. In conclusion, the situation in Iran serves as a stark reminder of the importance of prioritizing humanitarian concerns and protecting civilian infrastructure in times of conflict. As we move forward, it's crucial to engage in constructive dialogue and work towards finding peaceful solutions that promote stability and prosperity for all parties involved. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.